Hello, I'm Mark,
I'm Casey.
And I'm Patrick.
and today we're going to talk a little bit about data centers and electricity and maybe a fix that's happened in Oregon. But first, Casey's going to roll that credit.
Billionaires pay their own way.
You're watching the Tesla Life Express.
Hey everyone, thanks for joining us today. Wanted to talk about a specific article by an author that we all know. Sitting right with us. Patrick, of course, blogs constantly on his own channel, of course, carswithcords.net. Go ahead and bookmark that because you'll want to see the articles that Patrick puts out a few times a week. But he's got one that's kind of a follow-up on a previous one. Patrick, what do you got for us today?
Yeah, so I was complaining how on this show...
Not you!
Yeah. I'm no Russell, but I can write a little bit. How electricity prices here in Oregon, we used to have some of the cheapest in the nation, and but they've been going up every year. And now we're above the national average. And what's going on? Well, one of the great things about driving an EV is that your fuel costs are cheap. If electricity is like driving for a dollar a gallon price equivalent, but not if it keeps going up like this. So I started looking at what the problem was and why are our costs going up so much. And that's what I was ranting about on the show. And so Oregon has 130 some data centers. And that puts us, I think, ninth in the country. But on a per capita basis, it puts us at number 2, only behind Virginia.
Yeah,
so
a lot of them.
yeah. I wonder why that is. They're not close to any place special, are they? Yeah. Yeah. So
and they're not far from New York either. So
right. Yes. So why is having data centers a problem? Well, if you look at the way that things work in the past, if there's something new going in like that and it needs a new substation or transformers or transmission lines or whatever, that cost gets spread among all of the utility customers, including residential and industrial. And in the past, that made sense. If a new factory is going in, they're going to need workers. That's going to mean new homes are getting built. Then the people who live in those homes are going to need amenities like stores and restaurants. So everybody's benefiting from it, so everybody paid for it. Well, with a data center, after the construction is done, there are very few jobs on site. And so they're not building entire communities around them. They need as much power as a small city, and yet those costs were still being disseminated across everybody.
And that's just for a regular data center, not one of these specialty ones.
Right. Yeah. Even worse if it's an AI or crypto mining. These are very energy intense operations. So, and a lot of them were coming here because electricity prices were cheap. Well, as more of this happens, that's becoming less true. So let me pull up the exact name of this act that passed, because they did a clever backronym. It's called the Power Act, where power stands for Protecting Oregonians with Energy Responsibility. So the Power Act. And what they said was, if you have a data center and it's using 20 megawatts or more energy, then that is a separate class, and that's separate from the general industrial or residential users. And they have to sign 10-year contract agreements. And most importantly, they have to pay for their own infrastructure. So if any of those things like substations or transformers or transmission lines are required, then they're paying for it, which makes sense because afterwards they still get the industrial power rates, which are 8 cents per kilowatt hour, where residential owners like me are paying 20 cents a kilowatt hour. So they're still getting a great deal.
Yeah.
But they're not passing all these costs on to everybody else. And so that was like, wow, we had a problem and we got a law and we passed it. And there were data center AWS and others that were trying to oppose this law and saying, no, you should delay this. And they got no traction here. Although now
you
formed
should delay it until we got ours through. Then you can do what you want.
Right. Yes. They're trying to make sure this law doesn't spread to other areas of the country, though. So luckily we got it in, and hopefully you can get it in your area too, because it was not fair. And so now it is, because these are the data centers are being built by some of the most profitable tech companies in the world.
Microsoft, Amazon, Google, Apple.
Yeah, they have deep pockets. They can pay for these things. They don't need to make me pay for it. And sure, I might want to use some of their services. I think AI is great, and crypto too. But that's if I sign up to use your service, I'll pay for it. I don't want to pay for it every month in my electricity bill, whether or not I'm using it. That's just not fair. Yeah. So,
what was your low? I knew you were at 12 at one point, but you were below 12 at one point, right?
Oh yeah. So I mean, as part of this blog post, I charted all the way back to 2018, and it depends on whether you're looking at the after tax or pre-tax. So it was generally about 10 cents a kilowatt hour for the longest time, and then it slowly started going up. And if you add all the taxes and stuff on it, so in 2018 it was about 13 cents a kilowatt hour, and now it's about 20 cents a kilowatt hour. So a 45% increase in 7 years. And so the number of data centers is expected to continue to keep growing. So by 2030, it could be another 50%. And you might say, oh, well, inflation, that just happens. Well, electricity prices have generally been slower than inflation. And that's because, because we have the Citizens Utility Board and the Public Utility District, and they help control prices and because your utility has a limited monopoly. You can't just choose to get your power from somebody else. That's just not how it works here. And so by them getting that monopoly, they have to follow these regulations and price controls, because otherwise, if it was just capitalism driven, there's nothing to stop them from raising it until they have to shut off half their customers. But if they deem that's okay, because we get more money from the other half than this half, that would be horrible, right? So anyway, this is now law, but there were two other laws that were passed at the same time related to microgrids. And so the idea of a microgrid is that you can become your own small utility. And if you are meeting Oregon's guidelines for renewable energy, then you can make a microgrid. You can have batteries there. You can have an attachment to the grid, so you can still get and take power from the grid. And because you're not just a normal home, you're not subject to the limits that they have on renewables. And so like
microgrid.
I can't put more than 25 kilowatt of solar on my house, just because I'm residential, and that's the limit that they have on residents. So and it doesn't matter how much land I have or whatever, but now I could become a microgrid. I make a agreement with them on how much I can export, how much I can import, and as long as I stay within that agreement, that's great. So data centers now have the ability to get megapacks and cover the whole massive thing with solar and control how much they're using from the grid. And if that means they don't have to pay for this additional infrastructure of transformers and substations, instead they can spend it on batteries and solar, that's better for everybody. Now they're making their own renewable energy, storing it, using it as they need. They can still have a contract with the utility. They can instead get it at a regular trickle that they're using their batteries to manage, and without having to say, oh, there's a whole bunch of something just went viral and there's a whole bunch of people hitting our servers, we need more power. They don't have to do that. They can instead use their batteries to buffer those kinds of things.
Even better is they set up their agreement, they refill the batteries at night, and then just leave them with enough room to hold their solar, or use the solar directly to power the equipment, or say you're still at full and you just dump your solar into the grid, assuming that they want it, and that I think that's a better deal for everybody than than
Yeah,
just
it gives the microgrid, it gives the customers, and it gives the grid itself options that didn't exist previously.
Yeah, the fair deal, making them pay for their own stuff because they were, they're using the most, and like you said, giving back the least to the direct community. But then you sweeten the pot by saying not only are you paying for this, but we'll allow you to have some flexible financial arrangements with this as well, because you can give back to the community directly if you're set up for it. And maybe we'll see less data centers that just have like that tar or gravel roof, and we'll actually see some solar panels up there, and maybe out in the like above their retention pond will be some more solar panels. Make it worth their while.
Yeah, this could be really beneficial. So, I mean, I'm in the smart battery program, right? So when there's a heat wave and the grid needs more power, they can tap my batteries and I get paid for that. So the same thing could happen on a massive scale with a data center where that could offset a lot of their electricity costs. And running a data center, it's I've done a tour of a couple data centers, and it's funny. Most of the tour, they're talking about the HVAC system. I'm like, I'm more interested in the tech and what networking do you have, and what. And they're like, no.
Here's cool first.
Yes, this place is built to do HVAC.
yeah, because your 400 gig InfiniBand doesn't work if it's too hot.
Exactly.
I'm wondering now. This gives them another opportunity besides just solar, wind, and whatnot. Can they put like a super concentrator on the water cooled data centers, the ones that have a like a closed loop like I have here? Mine's obviously home grid, but a super concentrator and then do maybe a heat pump or just take that heat, that 90-degree plus heat that they got coming out of the racks, bump it up to 120, and then make steam out of it, and now you're a real power plant.
Funny you mentioned that because just recently I saw an article, I believe it was about the Netherlands, with the data center pushing some of the that water cool system right to their local river that runs through town. So they put some ports in it. It sucks in river water. It cools the data center, pumps it back to the river. So it becomes their reservoir. The only possible problem, and of course they're monitoring this, is it going to up the temperature of the river and affect any river life that's currently in it?
Depends on their flow and how hot they make it. There's another one in Europe that I saw that was pretty cool. They use the community pool to not directly because there's stuff in it, but they use the community pool with a heat exchanger. And so they get free heated pool in the wintertime.
Pool water,
yeah. And in the summertime, it's still cooler than they want it. So it's a benefit for everybody. And then they do have one where right as it comes in, and that helps to preheat the sauna. So that was pretty cool to see.
There's a brewer that preheats their water before they do it in the beer mash with the same kind of heat exchanger from a data center.
Oh, cool.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Well, thanks, Patrick. That was great. Of course, if you'd like to read the full article and comment on it, you can comment right here, or you can go over to carswithcords.net and comment directly on the blog post. But what do you think? Does this make sense? Would you like it to see this type of law passed in your local state or province? Does that make sense to you? And of course, does it make more sense if more states pass it, because then you haven't got the data centers running to the cheapest price, and the ones that haven't got their act together yet, so
raising their prices.
Exactly.
Yeah, and like Oklahoma and Ohio can use the same name.
they can, yes. I saw a video piece on some folks in Georgia, and these like single moms and like single people as well, that their bill went from like $80 a month, like for their 2-bedroom, 1-bedroom, to $400.
Yeah, and we want to.
They didn't change the consumption at all.
Right? Yeah. So that's horrible. A More Perfect Union did a story about this as well, and with similar results of, okay, look, I'm using 20% less than I was last year, and my bill is twice as much. This is just horrible. Yeah, nobody wants that, and especially if we want to move to heat pumps and electrified transportation. Now you can't say, oh, and by the way, let's increase the cost of this. That's not going to help anybody.
Defeat purpose. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, Casey, what do you got for shoutouts for us?
Catch us live on Wednesday.
Coming up. Absolutely.
Hit the bell. You never know if there's extras.
That's right. 7 p.m. On Wednesday live Eastern. Patrick, any shoutouts?
Thanks for hanging out with us. It's been fun. And check out oeva.org if you're in Oregon. And we've got events coming up all the time. Some cool, fun stuff. See you there.
Drive Electric Month.
Yeah,
Yes.
we got it's Drive Electric Month, and go to the Drive Electric Month website and check out all the different activities that are happening this month. Within the next 10 days, I believe it's starting. So keep an eye on what's happening in your neck of the woods. You may want to go out and visit some events. With that, we'll get together next time, and together we will find out what's happening in the Tesla life.